Right, welcome to Old World Gaming. So at the weekend, the pre-orders came out for the latest wave of Old World miniatures. Um, yeah, I thought I'd take a look, see how much they're going for, because this I was kind of interested to see how much the archers are costing. I've got no idea how much the casket souls is going to be actually. Yeah, it'd be interesting to go through and see. So I know a lot of what the old prices were from back when I worked at the store. So what I'm really keen to find out is how much um, how much of the thing are the various units selling for, and how does that compare with how much they were selling for back in like when they were released? So Battalions came out about 2003-ish. I think it was 2003. So how much were they selling for back then? How much does that compare to now? Same with things like orcs, orcs, goblins. Now some of these obviously are a lot later. I actually have no idea how much, for example, the boyz were selling for, but most of the things were out when I was a staff member. So yeah, it'd be good to have a look and see what the comparison is. Let's head over to the store and have a look. I'm going to start with goblins, orcs and goblins. All right, so let's see what we've got. Here we go. Look at this, the night goblin mob. All right, so night goblins. Let's start here because they're at the top. These were the surprise unit, as far as I'm concerned. I don't remember hearing anything about these guys coming out. But yeah, there we are. They are the classic night goblins. So, all right, let's start here. Now, when they first came out, so they were replacing. Wow, I was going to say they were replacing the classic 5th edition Goblin box of goblins, and they kind of were. So this is the 5th edition. You got a green box of goblins. Now I'm struggling to remember if it was 10 or 8 goblins you got in a box. I'm going to say it's 10. I feel like 10. So you got half of the unit was spearmen, half of the unit was archers. The archers were night goblin archers. The spearmen were probably common goblins. They weren't wearing hoods. And they were just all monopose spearmen, monopose archers. And it was £5 for the box. I think it was probably about 10 goblins you got in the box. And then you bought this box set out, and you got 20 goblins in the box. 20 goblins in the box. You can make spearmen or you can make bowmen, as you can see here. The box cost 12 quid. So you got 20 goblins. So arguably, assuming I'm right, that it was 10 goblins in a box previously. So the box, it was a fiver for your monopose goblins, 5 spearmen, 5 archers. So for a tenner, you could get 10 spearmen and 10 archers. So a unit of 10 archers is fine. A unit of 10 goblin spearmen, spear gobs, whatever you want to call them, I'm going to call them spearmen. A unit of 10 goblin spearmen is pretty naff. You got no command groups, just 10 monopose spearmen and 10 monopose goblins, assuming you bought 2 boxes. That's my scenario. So you just spent a tenner, and you'd have 2 units, kind of. Like I say, the spearman unit is basically useless, no command, and only 10 goblins. Whereas this box set came out with 20 goblins, all of the arms to make, guys armed with bows, holding. So you got loads of arms, bows and arrows, and this side spears and shields. You got like a sword arm on each sprue, basically. So the command group. You got a command group first and foremost, but there were just some metal components actually. So you got a metal head for making a champion. You got a metal sword arm, and you got a metal gong. I'm trying to remember what the gong. Was it a gong? I think it was a gong. I feel like it was a gong on a like a stand. I'm trying to remember now. And you got a banner pole, which was like a bad moon banner. Okay, so you got the metal parts. So that was like 4 metal bits or something. Five metal pieces, a couple of arms and a head. But that gave you a unit of 20 with full command group, and you could make that as 20 archers, you could make it as 20 spearmen, and it cost you 12 quid. So that was slightly more expensive than the old monopose ones, but the models were fantastic. So 12 quid for a unit 20 was like it was a bargain because they were like monopose, not monopose, multi-pose. You can interchange them, customize them however you want. It was excellent, a million times better. Everybody loved them. 12 quid was a bargain. Then a few years later, like for 6th edition, they re-released the box set. I'm trying to remember actually when it got re-released, but when it did get re-released, you got a plastic command sprue in there. So they got rid of the metal parts. You got an additional sprue, and that sprue gave you all the command bits you can see here. So your Goblin gong and big old banner. The previous banner that you had, I'm sure, was just a pole with a moon on it. It didn't have an actual flag. And then the plastic bits for the champion as well. So you got, but yeah, same kind of deal. You didn't get any extra guys; it was just arms and stuff for your command group. But you also got, which is a bit of a weird decision, but you also got the parts for Skaven command group and the parts for an undead command group. Which I can't remember if it was skeletons or zombies. I want to say skeletons, but I can't remember. Yeah, so you got 3 different armies, command groups, pieces, all on a single sprue. And so in the Skaven Clan Rat sprue, you got box set, you got that sprue, and in one of the undead box sets, you got that sprue as well. And so when you bought this box of goblins, you also had some rat arms and some undead arms of some variety. But the price went up to 15 quid. So you're paying an extra 3 quid. But still, 15 quid for 20 night goblins was more than fine. So fast forward to today, you are now paying, and it went up at various points to like 18 quid as the boxes went up over the years. But I'm going to base my kind of calculation now on the 15 quid version of this box because that's the plastic one. So that's how much it was when it first came out. So now you're getting 2 boxes of them. So back in the early 2000s, you'd have paid 30 quid. Yeah, 30 quid. If they were when you're buying them for 18 quid, that's what more 36 quid. That you'd be paying for them. So somewhere between 30 and 36 quid in the early 2000s you'd pay for these 2 boxes. Now it's 47.50. So what's that? 23 something. Yeah, so they're more expensive based on old prices. However, we did this in a previous episode. What's the currency converter? Let's see. So I'm just going to do this. 15 quid from 2003 in 2024. Let's see what happens when I type that in. That's what I want. Money. Let's put GBP. See if it makes a difference. Blah, 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 blah. What would £20, a UK inflation calendar calculator? Here we go. Here's the one that I used last time. Must be this one because it's got a purple link on it, which means I've clicked it. Here we go. Right. Yeah, cookies. Everyone loves cookies. Wonderful cookies. Right, so what are we saying? So the goblins were 15 quid back in about, I'm going to say 2003, because that feels about right. And then, yeah, today, March 24, is perfectly fine. So 26.42. So if they were released today and the price was basically the same, you'd expect it to be 26.42 for a box. So 26.42 times 2 is what? 52, 53 quid. So actually, does that make them cheaper? They are. They are cheaper now than they were back in like 2003. If we, let's say they were 12 quid, but they were never 12 quid with that plastic box set. But let's see, £21.14 each, which is what, 22 quid something, 42 quid, sorry. Which, what do we say? I'm forgetting already. Yeah, so there we go. So somewhere in between, like I said, they were 15 quid at the time. So they're actually cheaper now than they were in 2003. So there we go. That's very good, right? I think that's good. So I'm not going to complain at how much those cost. So yes, there we go. Good to know. Right, what else? What else has come out, and how much are they charging for them now? So there we go. So these are like the best price. This is the best price that box has ever been. There we go. Just so you know. What I am quite surprised at though is why they bundled them together in a big box. Because if they were to sell them for 26.42, let's say 27 quid maybe, or whatever half of this is. What is it? 47.50 is what? 23.75, something like that. If they were to sell them for 23.75, it'd be much easier for people to get into the hobby, right? Because you could. It's much easier to justify spending 25 quid on a unit than it is spending 50 quid on a unit, on 2 units. So I think that's an oversight, because trying to get your friends into a hobby who aren't familiar with the kind of prices that Warhammer or just models go for, 50 quid for a couple of units of core troops, particularly goblins, is quite a, I don't know, it feels like a commitment, much more of a commitment than 25 quid. So there we go. That's my thoughts on that. I think they should sell them separately, 25 quid a box. So here we go. Same deal for these guys, goblin mobs, exactly the same, apart from they never went through the metal phase. I am sure. Oh, now in our previous video, I kind of guessed that you got from vague recollections, like 20 years ago. Here's was my recollection. You got 5 of these guys on a sprue, 5 standing legs, 5 wolf rider legs, and I think you must have got a banner, 2 banners on each sprue. This is the time where I find out if I was right or wrong. Oh, look, here you go. There's the 2 flags, 5 standing legs, 5 bodies. Look at that. You did. You literally got 2 banners on it. You got a whole command group on every single sprue of goblins. That's crazy. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they did. So yeah, there's the shields. So basically, this sprue and this sprue gives you enough to, because this one's got all the heads on and the arms, but it's also got the sitting legs for the wolf riders. So yeah, I knew. Well, in a box somewhere, I have got a million of these, and million is a slight overstatement, but not by much. Because I don't know, I must have had like somewhere between 60 and 80 common goblins, right? If you get for every 5 goblins, you get 2 banners. That's ridiculous. It is an unnecessarily large amount of banners. So I don't know, on a conservative estimate, let's say I've got 60 goblins. I can't even do that. Divided by, I don't know, too many. No, I'm going to stop that. But I've got lots of banners. That's all I want to say. Clearly my maths is horrendous, and it would take me far too long and get too embarrassed trying to do that. Right. Boar chariots. Okay, so let's move on to, no, actually, before we go to boar chariots, let's go to something I'm a little less hazy with. So these used to get 10 for 15 quid. And now you get 15 for 37.50. So 10 for 15 quid is £7.50 for 5, right? Because that's 15 divided by 2. So I'm just thinking half a box would have cost you £7.50. So £7.50 times by 3. So that's just another 750 on top of 15. And my brain is melting as I try and do mental maths really badly because it's been a very long time since I've been in school and had to do mental maths. So what's that? Add a fiver on, it's 20 quid plus another 250. There we go, 2250. See? Look at that. That is mental maths on the go. So 2250. So 2250 back in the day, because I can't bother to work it out. 22.5 will not let me do any points. Fine. 22 quid is 38.75. What do we say? How much is this? Look at that. These guys are cheaper as well than they were when they first came out. Look at that. That was unexpected. Not much cheaper, but cheaper, right? So that's very cool. So Wolf Riders are cheaper than when they first came out. There you are. That's all I have to say about that. So to be honest, what I'm really doing is like checking if I should feel bad about prices, because initially I did. I was like, oh man, these are so expensive, like 50 quid for a couple of units of goblins, because having been back there when they were like 15 quid, I'm like, oh, it just feels so expensive, particularly the orcs, actually, when I was like 50 quid for a unit of orcs. We'll come on to those in a minute, and just see where we land with how much those are worth. But I was like 50 quid for a unit of orcs. But so far so good. These guys cheaper than they were when they first came out. Awesome. These guys also cheaper than they were when they first came out. These guys cheaper than they were when they first came out. So we're doing really well. So like if you went back in time and the prices were reversed from these scaled back down, that would actually be cheaper than they were at the time. So it's a price reduction. So there we go. So I'm feeling better about Warhammer prices. There we go. Now board chariots, I think they were 12 to 15 quid each. So they're about on par, I think. If they were 15 quid each, then they're slightly cheaper, because just going by the prices that we've just worked out for the goblins. If they were 12 quid, maybe they're a little bit more expensive. But stuff goes up in price anyway, so you couldn't complain about that. So yeah, so they're fine. You can't really complain at those prices. Black Orcs. Now these Black Orcs came out for 7th edition. I don't actually remember how much the Black Orcs were. I think they came in a box of 10, but I couldn't tell you how much they were. So it could have been, again, if it was like 15 quid for a box of 10, maybe. But I'm completely making that number up. I don't know how much it was. I forget. It's not as ingrained in my head. But the reason these are ingrained in my head is because all of the core box sets for every army cost the same amount, and they all had they were just core units, and every army had a couple of core unit box sets they were all the same price. So whether that was in the £12 era or the £15 era or the £18 era, whatever, they all went through the price hike at the same time. Black Orcs didn't fit into that. They were just like a non-core unit, so they didn't come with like a big block of troops, and they didn't fit into the same kind of pricing structure. So that's why I can't remember. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So I can't help you out with those right now. I'd have to actually go look it up. I'm just going to stick with the stuff that I remember. I've already confessed I don't know the Orc War boys, how much they cost. So 37.50. Well, what do we say? These guys, yeah, about 22 quid. So, I mean, 22 quid comparative price. I know 2003. Now they didn't come out until, I don't know, 2010, something like that, maybe. That's a guess, because I wasn't working at Games Workshop in 2010. I'm not even sure when they came out. In fact, you know what? They came out in 8th edition, didn't they? So 2010, I can't remember when 8th edition came out, but it definitely wasn't 2010, because 7th edition came in 2007, 2006? Probably 2006. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they came out in like 2012 or something. But yeah. I don't know anything about them. I'm going to stop speculating and move on. These guys. So, these are an interesting unit. These were never available as a box set. So this is a brand new concept to have these guys available as a box set. So initially they came out in the 6th edition box, and you got, I don't know, I can't actually remember, 16. You got 16? Yes, you did. You got 16 boys with choppers, 16 boys with bows. You only got one command group, and that was the 6th edition box set. You also got a boar, so that when you made your command group for your chopper unit, you actually used the champion and you gave him the boar rider legs, because the command group comes with a set of boar rider legs. So you only really made a standard bearer and a musician for your boys, and you turned this guy into your general, and then you had a boar chariot. So that was the army from the 6th edition set. So it feels that's about the same as this, isn't it? So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 guys. Yeah. So this actually, apart from the extra command group, this is what you got in the 6th edition box set. Now they did do a battalion set, which I believe came with them as well. It was basically all the stuff from the 6th edition box set, but had a box of Wolf Riders in it. So yeah, there you go. So you got these units minus one of the command groups. You got a chariot. I think you even did get a boar for your general, and then a unit of Wolf Riders, and that was 50 quid. So yeah, there you go. What would that cost you these days? 50 quid. 50 quid from 2003, £88.07. Oh, there you go. There you are. So yeah, I don't know what to do with that information, because I'm not really working it out. I guess we could work it out. I don't really want to right now. There's too many other things to do to work out how much an old orc battalion is worth now. But yeah, so there you go. Not much to say about that, I guess. No, that was just more general information. You couldn't buy this box set previously. What are you paying? What did we say? 23.75, I think is what we said, per unit. Feels alright for a unit of orcs. They couldn't do what I was suggesting earlier and split these into smaller boxes, because they fall into the same trap as the 5th edition Goblin box set that I started talking about, where on each sprue you get 4 guys with choppers and 4 guys with bows. And so if they did release a box set, you'd get 8 guys is the smallest box set you'd get in it, and yeah, you'd get 4 of each. So you would be back to, in fact, that is the classic. You used to be able to get an orc box set that had 4 orcs with bows and 4 orcs with sword and shield. It was not 2 choppers, and that was a £5. So I guess we could. Okay, let's use that as our comparison then. Is that a good comparison? I don't know if it's a good comparison, but I'm using it. So what did you get? What do we say? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 boxes from back in the day at a £5 each. 5, 10, 15, 20. So 20 quid. You wouldn't have got any command groups, but you would have got guys with choppers and swords and guys with bows for 20 quid. So let's compare this to the 5th edition offering of monopose 20 quid orcs, monopose orcs. So 20 quid, and that wouldn't have been 2003. That would have been pre-2000. So let's say 99. Let's go with 99, because in 2000 these guys came out. So in 1999, that's 98. Don't know what happened there. In 1999, you would have paid 20 quid for the equivalent of these guys, minus command groups. Actually, command groups would have been like £4 or £5 for a command group. I don't know if it was, yeah, maybe £4 or £5 you'd have paid for a metal command group to go with each of these. So maybe let's say it was a £5. Why not? 5, 10. Let's add an extra tenner on. Although I feel like they might have been 4 quid. Let's make them 4 quid. 28 quid. So to buy in 1999. No, we've gone back really far. It was 2003 a minute ago. Never mind. In 1999, to to buy this unit, but it feels okay. Here's why I don't mind using that comparison, because it was when I was a kid, and it felt like stuff was really cheap because it was a fiver which you could spend your pocket money on and go get a box of orcs. Yes, you couldn't make a unit with them because you got 4 guys with swords and 4 guys with archers, so you have to buy a few boxes. But I could afford a fiver to spend on some orcs, so that's why I'm using that comparison. What do we say? So to buy when I was a kid, to buy the equivalent of these units with my pocket monies. It would have cost me 28 quid, which would equate to 51.65. So there you go. It's really interesting to see those numbers because it felt like stuff was so much cheaper back then. But technically it's cheaper now. I don't know about you, but that surprises me. I think maybe this is Games Workshop's mistake. Maybe it's because they're putting too much in these boxes because that feels like loads. What would it be? What would it be now? If they so the fiver for the one tenner, yeah, tenner. I don't think it would be the worst move in the world to sell like 5 guys with choppers and 4 guys with choppers, 4 guys with bows for a tenner. Would it? I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a naff unit. 20 quid for 2 units of 8. I don't know. Maybe it is a bit naff. Maybe that's why they don't do it, because the old model was just naff, as in the old way of making the boxes. They were. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I didn't notice it, but when I was a kid, it's like, oh yeah, I got me some orcs and some have got swords and some have got bows, and I got 4 of each. Arguably this is just generally better and cheaper. There you go. 51.65 is what you would have been paying an equivalent in 99, and you'd have got worse models. So there you go. They are cheaper. All right, moving on. Onwards and upwards. What else we got? These guys, I don't know how much they were. They came out in 7th or 8th edition, maybe 7th edition, not sure. Okay, let's get on to the boys. The boys. So these were a unit of 19. Yes, because the command, we've already talked about the command group came as 3. You got four sprues of 4 boys, which gave you 19 boys. How many's in here? Was it 31 in here? 31 Ogre boys, there you go. The reason it's an odd number is because the sprues of 4 and a sprue of 3. So, how many sprues is that then? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 by 4 is... wait, that's 6 sprues. What am I about? And then, what's 4 sixes? 28. So there's another 28. Oh yeah, and a sprue of 3. Okay, so you get 6 sprues, and then I guess these 3 at the back. I don't even know how it's... Is this picture a picture of more? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh no, it's a picture of 1 less. That's weird, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should it be 7 sprues? Now my mind is like hurting really bad. Let's have a look. Sprue, yeah, 4 guys on a sprue. Did I just do some basic maths wrong? Probably. Where's my picture of my boys? There it is. Right, okay. Let me do this again. 4 sixes. Oh, 4 sixes 24, not 28. Oh, that must have been really amusing hearing me just spout really bad numbers. Okay, 5. No, what am I thinking? 7 fours. Okay, 7 fours are 28. 4 sevens are 28. That's where my numbers went wrong. So they're actually missing a guy on this picture. All right, fine, whatever. Under advertising, but they say 31 there, so fine. So we've got 7 sprues. Okay, 7 sprues of 4 and the command sprue. So what did I say? You got 4 sprues previously, and the command sprue. So let's just call that 5 sprues. 5 sprues for 15 quid, 3 quid a sprue. Okay, let's do that. Let's go for 3 quid a sprue, 3 quid a sprue. This is back in, that actually came out in 2000. Yes, 3 quid a sprue in 2000. Oh, that's not strictly true. Okay, we'll do this in 2 parts. So the initial set of orcs came out at the same time as the night goblins. Again, you got a banner. It was a banner pole, like more like a totem, and it had like a lizard man head stuck on it. I'm trying to remember. That's the only thing that I can remember. It was a classic Saurus. You know, like the old ones that you got in the 5th edition box set, the Bretonnians versus Lizardmen. It was that shape Saurus, because the new ones didn't come out till like 2002. So yeah, it had a Saurus head impaled on it. I'm trying to remember what else it had. It definitely had a bunch of other things. It was just like a spear, essentially, with a whole bunch of stuff impaled on it. Yeah, so there we go. So and that really weighed your guy down. He kept falling over, and you had to stick like a 2p or something on his base, underneath his base, to stop him falling over. Particularly, so the boss came with a massive outstretched arm. It was a giant chopper. Mine one is stretched right out, and he just falls over constantly. I have stuck like a 2p under his base or something, but he definitely falls over. One day I'll get him out. And have a look at my old orcs, but not at the moment. And then the drummer. Oh yeah. No, what did the drummer? Wait, what did the musician have? Because I made my own. I made my own drum as well with a bit of balsa wood and a shield. One of the shields. These guys haven't got shields. Have they got any guys with shields anywhere? There was a shield sprue here. Yeah, here we go. This shield here looks like stretched skin basically, and I made a drum out of that. Just because you can. Anyway, so yeah, I can't quite remember what the musician was like. I don't think it was a trumpet, but it could have been. Anyway, maybe it was. So yeah, all that to say, the first version of this box, the 12 quid version, similar to the Night Goblins, came with metal bits for the command group, which meant actually the first version, the 12 quid version, was a 16-man box. Because, yeah, it came with, it was either 16-man or it could have been a 20-man box. Because it might have just given you additional sprew boyz. I can't remember. But the later one was 19. Anyway, where did we get to? I was looking at dates. So, yes, so previously it probably came out in like, I don't know, 97, 98 initially, but it got re-released in 2000, and they chucked in the command sprue that they put in the 6th edition box set into the box, re-released the box at 15 quid each. However, because there's 31 guys in here instead of 19, and that doesn't divide easily enough, we've taken the box would have had 4 sprues of guys and a command, which gives us 5 sprues, and we're saying it's 3 quid each. So just as a recap of how we got there. So in the year 2000, that box set was 3 quid a sprue, which is £5.50 a sprue. Now we've got, what is it, 8 sprues? Yes, 6, 7 plus 8. 8 sprues. 8 times £5.50. I don't know. It's 40 quid for 8 times 5, and then another 4 quid. So what's that? 44 quid? £44. This box set is, and slightly more expensive, but not much. £3.50 more expensive. So again, in terms of inflation, now if we compared that to when they went up to the box went up to 18 quid in like, I don't know, 2003, 2004. No, it might have been more like 2005. I don't know. Anyway, it was somewhere around that range. No, maybe it was like 2000. I don't know. It went up to 18 quid in the time whilst I was working at Games Workshop. So somewhere around 2005, give or take a couple of years. So it could have been earlier, it could have been later. It went up to 18 quid, which is a little bit harder to divide by. So what are we saying? 5? How do you divide 18 by 5? easily? The answer is not easily. Right, give me a second. I'm just using my phone to do the maths because I am slow. Right, here we go. 18 divided by 5 is £3.60 a sprue. So there we go. So let's. Oh, I can't do £3.60 a sprue. It won't let me. Won't let me do points, will it? Point. Please only insert numbers 0 to 9. £3.60 a sprue. Well, let's say it's £4 a sprue. At some point it was 20 quid. So let's just go for that. 732 a sprue. I'm using my phone now. I've got it out. Times, what do we say? There's 5 sprues in the box? 5. There we go. It's 36.60. Oh wait. Times 5. Oh, what an idiot. What am I doing? I've completely forgotten what I'm doing now. 732. No, I've completely lost my train of thought. I was trying to see if when these guys were 18 quid, that's right. So compared to like 2005-ish price. So 18 quid made them £3.60 a sprue. So in about 2005, they were £3.60 a sprue. So £3.60 a sprue times by the 8 sprues you get in here was 28.80. So there we go. So let's say 29 quid. Buying these boys in about 2005 would have cost you 29 quid. So let's say 2005. Boom. 29 quid in 2005 is 49.39. So there we go. So they're about right. When I say about right, what I mean is they've basically not changed in price. They haven't got more expensive. They are about the same sort of price. Now I remember. Now I wasn't working at Games Workshop at the time. I remember dropping in to the Eastbourne store. This is back when. Wow. I mean, I don't need to say who was manager at the time. But he was a legend. Anyway, when I popped in, I was like, oh, they're still selling these boys, and he was like, yeah, but look how many you get in the box. And it was like half the box, but it was still 15 quid. And yeah, how many would have been? 4, 8, 9, 10. It might have been 11. I think you got 11 orcs in the box for 15 quid in about 2010, 2011. Maybe 2012. Yeah, could have been. All right, let's assume it was 2012, and you got 11 guys in the box, which is 3 sprues for 15 quid. So that makes them a £5 a sprue. By 2012, they've risen to like a £5 a sprue. What am I doing? £5 a sprue. Oh, okay. Yeah, fine. 7 quid. 7. That would be 7 quid each now. So there's 7 times 8. That would cost you 56 quid. So compared to like the last price I remember these guys selling at, which was 11 orcs for 15 quid. I feel like that's about how much they were. They're cheaper because that would be 56 quid now. Yeah, 15 quid. Show them up. Okay, well that doesn't really help. Because that's 11, and you almost times it by 3. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, on my phone, I worked it out. It says 56 quid. So these guys are in a good position. So yeah, I think what makes it hard to stomach is the fact that it's like 50 quid for a unit. If they'd have halved the size, right? What's that? 5, 10, 15. How many boys? So yeah, if they gave you 16, no, 14, 15. I don't know. How many boys can you get? 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. They could give you 15 boys, right? I was just like, why is it 31? Because you're getting 1 sprue of these instead of 2. So yeah, so if they made it a box of 15 guys for half the price, is that right? 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 4 sprues instead of they are giving you 8 sprues. So what's half the price of that? What do we say? 23 375, 2375. Again, 15 orcs for 2375 is probably all right. It'd be easier as a newbie to buy a box of 15 for 2375 than a box of 31 for 47.50. But yeah, there we go. All right, those were those. That was 12 quid at one point, 25 quid now. That was probably about 12 quid in 2000. Let's just do that. 12 quid in 2000. Oh, that's 1 quid. 12 quid in 2000. How much is that chariot worth? 21.96. Fine. I think it was probably 12 quid before that as well. I feel like maybe 90. Yeah. So that chariot's been out for a long time. I reckon probably was 12 quid in about 97 as well. 22.78. How much is it? Oh, it's 25 quid. I mean, I don't hate that. Big guns, eh? Yeah, I'm not convinced that's a fair comparison to start looking at big guns. I don't remember how many of those you get. These guys were about 12 quid each, which means they're not far off. So about 2007. All right, you know what? Let's check the trolls. In about 2007, they were about 12 quid. I'm going to say 2006 because that's when they came out, I think. I think it's 2006. 12 quid, they might have been a tenner, but let's show them out now. 1997. Wait, each. This is each. Okay. So yeah, each. 20 quid each. How much are they? 25 quid. You can't see, but I'm doing a hands up. That's a really good price. 25 quid for those guys. That's better than it seems, right? Let's say they were tenner. They were somewhere between 10 and 12 quid. Let's say they were tenner. 16. They were 10. If they were tenner in 2006, that's what, 33 quid? 33 quid for the two. So you'd have paid 20 quid for them back in 2006 for the two of them. 1664 is what it work out now. 33 quid. They are cheaper. By my reckonings anyway. How much was it Nazgob? Nazgob. Classic. Wasn't he from? Where was Nazgob from? I don't think it was Idol of Cork, was it? Or was it Odgett? I can't quite remember where Nazgob was from. 9 quid. He was, I don't know how much he was. He probably was like 5 or 6 quid in about sort of the same time. Let's say the kind of time frame I reckon he was about 5 or 6 quid. Let's go 6 quid then. There you go. He's a fine price. Let's say it was a fiver. See what difference it makes. Yeah, he's about right. Ooh, the giant. Okay, so the giant I feel like has ranged in price from these guys. In fact, I think when they first came out, they might have been 18 quid each, but then they swiftly went up to like 25 quid. Over the years, they rose quite steadily from 18 to 20 to 25. So I reckon, yeah, easily. When did when did the plastic giant come out? I don't know. Let's start with 2006 for this giant. And say it was 18 quid in 2006. No, 2000, sorry, not 2006. 18 quid, don't know why I'm clicking instead of typing. 18 quid in 2000. 32.94, fine. But that was when he came in 2000, fine. He's more expensive than he was in 2000, assuming I'm remembering right. But he definitely went up to like 25 quid by about, like I say, it was quite rapid. Maybe. Well, it was before the plastic giant came out. Plastic giant was did it come out for 7th edition? I don't know. Let's say 2005. This guy was 25 quid. It was about then. 42.58. So he's more expensive than he used to be. So yeah, there you go. But you're buying him for nostalgia reasons because you can get the plastic giant So this one is a cashing in on nostalgia, just like these guys are. And I'm not going to work out their prices because I mean they were like, well, I mean I don't even know how far back to go with those. Um, by like 1999, which I think is probably when they got replaced. In 2000 they got replaced. But let's say up to 99, you'd probably get the three of them in a blister pack for like £6. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that to us because the only reason these are being sold is for nostalgia, not for any other reason than that. So yes, this guy's more expensive. The Bone Grinder Giant. Now this is interesting because I remember the Bone Grinder Giant coming out and I thought it was mega expensive. I can't remember when it was, but I feel like it was pre-2000. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with 97, maybe 98. I don't know. I can't quite remember when it came out, but he was £75, and back then, obviously, I'm paying like a fiver for my models, as previously mentioned. My first model was £3, and it was a Dark Elf Assassin. We should have a look and see how much that would cost these days. But also, the model was, I was going to say rubbish. It wasn't rubbish, but he was short and fat. But anyway, we'll come to that later. Maybe if I'll do it in a sec. So £75, and I mean, I used to look at this and kind of like stroke the page. Look, it's so beautiful. I want it. I'm not. I feel like they might have done some adjustments to it at some point over the years, like had a different head or something. But it was so amazing, so huge, and I was like, I really want it. But it's £75. That's a ridiculous price. So that felt like an absolutely extortionate price back in like the late 90s. So how much would that cost today? £140.20. There you go. So he's about on par with what he was. Not far off, and he definitely didn't stay £75 the whole way through. So yeah, there we are. So he's about okay. So very good. Considering he's kind of a nostalgia one a little bit, just in that. I mean, for people like me who always wanted him and never got him, and now I can afford him more than I could when I was saving up my fivers. As a kid, it wasn't even fivers I was saving up. It was like, pocket money, and you end up with a fiver. But yeah, now no, actually I still can't afford him, but that's not the point. That's another subject, but not for today. But if financial situations were slightly different, I'd love a Bone Grinder Giant, and I would be able to afford him normally. Okay, but yeah, he's not an unreasonable price. Doomdiver Catapult was £12 when this version came out in 2000. We did a £12 one in 2000 already, didn't we? I can't remember how much it was. It was the chariot. I think it was a little bit less. So there we go. So £22 compared to the £12 it was when it came out. Fine. I mean, that's only. Oh no, wait, it's £30. I thought it was saying it was £25. Fine. So it's a bit more expensive when it came out. But again, I'm not expecting. In all honesty, I'm surprised anything has it not just kept the same price, but actually got cheaper than it was when it first came out. Is a bit ridiculous. So I'm not really complaining that that's gone up in price. The Rock Globber was in a similar situation. The Rock Globber was £15. And that is now 40. So the Rock Globber is a little bit less value for money. So yeah, 27. So you're paying what, an extra £13 over what it would have been back in the day. But there we are. Again, I can't really complain at these things. This used to come in a blister pack. It wasn't £25. It was probably a tenner. Let's have a look at that. Tenner. What does a tenner work out at? 1830. All right. So we get as we're hitting these guys, we're getting less and less value for money. How much did that come out at? 1830. It's probably better than the Rock Globber. But there you go. So the best value for money staff are these, and they're like in all these plastic sets. and they're better value for money than they were when they were originally released. So that's good to know. I mean, very cool. They are. And I think these, am I right in saying that these are metal? Are they metal? What does it say? Yeah, metal. So metal, because they're not doing as much stuff in metal these days, I would expect metal to be more expensive than plastic, because plastic is their main, the main way that they're producing models. 65 quid. I don't know why I thought they were 60 quid, but 65 quid. Again, these were about 12 quid each. In the when I was working there, so that's like the mid noughties of the 2000s. So I mean, what's that? 60 quid anyway. So you were paying about 60 quid in about 2005 for these guys. So was it 2005? It probably would have been a bit before Ogre Kingdoms were released. When were Ogre Kingdoms released? Probably about 2005. So yeah, maybe just before Ogre Kingdoms were released, you were paying about 60 quid if you wanted to buy this unit anyway. So bargain. These are actually a bargain, and I don't even need to use a calculator to work it out, but I'm going to. So 60 quid in 2005. Boom. Look at that. So these guys are probably the biggest bargain going. So there you go. Remember that. All right. I feel like we've probably done enough orcs and goblins. Yeah, you know what? I've just realised I've been nattering on for almost an hour. I'm going to leave that there, and I'll pick up like Bretonnians and Khemri in a separate episode. But yeah, there we go. Good to know. You know what? Should we just finish off with the battalion? So back in the day, let's say these were, I think they were about 12 quid each. They could have been 15, so we'll see. These were 15 quid each, and I've already forgotten how much we said these were. They were, what, 3 quid a sprue, and there's 8 sprues. 3 8s are 24. So let's say that's 24 quid. So 15, 15, that's 30. I'm going to say 15 for each of these just because it's easier. So 60. So those are 60, and then 24, 84 quid. So 84 quid to buy the equivalent of that, give or take a fiver maybe. 84 quid in 2000. In 2000. 153. So there you go. Now this is actually bigger than even the 50 quid battalion. So the 50 quid battalion gave you, no, it didn't give you these at all, did it? I don't think we can work out the 50 quid battalion. The only thing that you got in the 50 quid battalion was that, one of them, and those 3 guys there. Everything else was different. So there we go. So just in case you're wondering, if you were to buy these back in the day, they'd be 153 quid 74. And then today, what are you saving today? That's 50 quid, that's 50 quid, that's 100 quid. And these are what, 25 each? So 50 quid. So basically the same. So yeah, it's basically the same, and you're basically saving the same amount of money. So there you go. So that battalion's fine. I thought it was loads. When I first saw it's 100 quid, I'm like, 100 quid for a battalion. But yeah, that's that's still cheaper than it would have been buying all those things separately back in the day anyway. So there we are. Cool. All right. Well, hopefully that was an interesting video. It was certainly interesting for me to kind of realise that actually the vast majority of stuff you need for an army is actually cheaper than it used to be. And the stuff that you don't need so much of, like giants, you need 1, maybe. I mean, you get more if you want, but you go for the plastic ones, right? Because they're cheaper. And these are a bit more expensive than they used to be. These are cheaper than they used to be. Adjusted for inflation, these are cheaper. all of the plastic troops are cheaper, the trolls are cheaper. So yeah, there we go. I think actually the prices are really really good place for the most part for orcs and goblins. So yeah, there we are. All right, well, like I say, thanks for watching. Hopefully that was interesting, and catch you in the next video.